The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
It's that time, y'all. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. It's straight talk with Valerie. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, Detroit? You are listening to the real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie here on 88.1 FM in the Highland Park, Detroit area, 107.5 HD, and anywhere else that you could be streaming this show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And tonight I have a special treat because my producer is on the show with me. Say what's up, Trisha.
What's up, Detroit? And Valerie, thank you so much always for just allowing us onto your amazing platform. And I'm so excited about tonight because Kyeng is so fabulous. And so I can't wait to get into this conversation.
Oh, my. You know, sometimes people take a lifelong time to walk in their truth, to discover what their purpose is in life, and to have complete ownership over who they are. So our guest on the show today is someone I have great admiration for because they are walking in their truth. They truly have embraced who they are. And they gave me the opportunity to have a conversation with them about their journey. I want to welcome to you Kyeng in Miami. What's going on, Kyeng?
Oh, Valerie, thank you so much for having me. Oh my God. Congratulations to you. You're doing such an amazing job as well. I'm so excited to be here with you this evening.
And we are so excited to have you. And we're going to just jump right into it. For those who don't know you, who is Kyeng?
Ooh. Baby, Kyeng is from the city of Detroit, Michigan, but I'm from a small suburb of Detroit. People don't know. When I say Detroit, they may be like, you know about 8 Mile? I ain't that Detroit, baby. I'm from a small city in Detroit called Inkster.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Now, I think now but they call it the Crooked Eye.
Mm-hmm. They do.
But that's where I'm from. And then finally after going through a cycle of events to figure out who I was, you know, high school, all through college. And then as an adult, my godmother told me at 30, you finally discover who you really are. It took 30 years to finally be like, okay, this is who I am. I get it now. And I was living here in Miami. And that's where I discovered me. Hence, how I became Kyeng in Miami.
Wow. That is
Ah,
amazing. And yes, I remember you from Inkster. Such a handsome little fella with all of that curly hair because your
ah,
grandmother only lived a few doors down on the next block, but a few doors down from my mom. And your Aunt Kathy and I are friends. Like we went to high school
true.
together.
That's what. Oh, you know, I had to get the background on what y'all used to do.
Oh, okay. Well,
Before I had to check in, before I had to check in with you today, I said, let me get a little history and back.
oh,
Oh,
Lord.
crap. What y'all used to do? Yeah. So I knew
Oh,
what house I
King.
was walking into before I even got here, baby.
All right. Well, hey, hey, hey. Now that we know a little bit about each other,
Ooh.
let me ask you this question. How
Like
do
this.
you identify yourself sexually?
Now, I never used to identify myself at all. I don't identify myself as anything. One a person once asked me, someone close, someone in my family asked me, so what is you? I know you ain't straight. Is you gay? Well, what does it matter? We're family. What does it matter if I'm gay or not? He said, so I know how to treat you.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, okay. So there's a different set of rules. That's what I was brought up on. This is why I'm in the predicament of not answering that question today. I said, if you don't treat me like your nephew, don't treat me like shit. Oops.
No, it's fine. Be you.
And so that was that. That was that. And he never asked me anything else from there. But I think he was pretty much assumed like, oh yeah, I think I know what time it is, because anybody who wasn't gay would have been going probably crazy. So I think in that respect, and now you don't even need to ask. All you gotta do is look at me, and you'll see how fabulously fly I am. Hello.
Baby, you better say it because
You
I
better
watch
say
your
that.
stories. And he be sharp as hell, too.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He be killing the game. Oh, my God.
You know what, Valerie and King? It's so ironic that you said that because I forgot who I was talking to, but we had a conversation about that. I don't find nobody come up to me and ask me, how do I identify? And I'm straight. Why do we, you know what I mean? And I think it's something that we do just out of curiosity maybe or something, but I noticed that it is not a topic of conversation for folks who are straight. What do you think about that?
But I think about that. I find it interesting that you asked that, because I have a good girlfriend of mine. She has her husband is so infatuated with me. Like, he is infatuated with the fact that I'm a gay man that's not trying to be so aggressive uh, and get a straight man or turn a straight man differently. And I think that's what people kind of fear the worst or about this community, is that we're out to get you. No, that's not how this works, darling. That's not how this works. But I feel like my good girlfriend said he is so infatuated with the fact that he can laugh with you, that you are so funny, like you are a regular human being. So it was like, I said, well, what the hell do he think I am? A species? What do you mean? Just because of my orientation or my sexual preference is I'm different? Okay. Well, I think maybe in that sense, I asked him about it later. He was referencing the creativity of gay men.
Hmm. You know, there is one thing that I must say. I get in a lot of trouble
Ooh.
with
Uh-oh.
people who prefer to identify with certain pronouns and things of that nature. I was fine with gay, bisexual, homosexual. Then we got LBGTQ elemental PRSTOY 007. And I was like, oh shit, nah, I don't know about all of these. So then I try to ask and I still mess up. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but I mess up. So let me ask this. What type of things did you go through mentally? Did you ever struggle with like suicidal ideation, depression, or anything like that on this journey? You said you were 30 years old when you decided like, okay, this has crystallized, this is me. But when did you first discover that you were gay? And what struggles did you have with that before you decided to tell your parents or, talk to anyone about it?
I had to reach over to my publicist and say, we didn't discuss on like what things were off limits.
Oh,
Baby.
okay.
No, it's okay because you know what? He said, well, this is your homegirl from Inkster. Like y'all from the same hood. Okay. Yeah, and you're right. So I'll give it to you. They said it's black coffee, no sugar, no cream. But I didn't know we were going that deep. Yes. Wow. Good question. I grew up in a different kind of world. You know what kind of world I grew up in.
I do.
It was a rough part of my life in the drug industry.
Yes.
My was deep into that. So we lived a great lifestyle. And then suddenly that lifestyle got snatched away from us for a while when someone had to go away and do their time.
Right.
That's when reality set in for me. It was the prime of my life as an adult. The prime of my life as an adult. When a boy probably needed male guidance the most. And I had it from different places, but I didn't have it from the person that mattered the most to me. Okay. And so I experienced a lot of hurtful things because when I was growing up, baby, we know what time it was.
Oh, yeah.
The 90s coming up, and to be gay, oh, no. That wasn't the thing to be. So, yeah, I experienced, even in high school, I experienced a lot of teasing and all of that, but I didn't even think I was gay then. I think people saw something in me before I confirmed it in myself.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And then growing up in church, lo and behold, I was the choir director.
Okay. I got baptized at Amity. Your Aunt Kathy invited me to church, and I started going with her, and I got baptized at Amity.
Did you?
Yes, so she led me to Christ.
Wow.
Yes, I got baptized at Amity. My mother had us going to church throughout our life, but she never forced a baptism. She let it be our own decision when we decided to turn our lives over or whatever. And I got baptized at Amity. What was that experience like with the church? Like, did you go through a lot of judgment or stigma and stereotypes there?
That was considered an abomination to God. That was what they preached to us in the Bible in the Old Testament. It speaks of being homosexuality as an abomination. But then if you cross over into the New Testament, it would tell you about how Jesus died for your sins. And that too was included with the same things that alcoholism, drug addict, and all of the things that you wrestle with. It's what I began to think this thing was. I thought it was kind of like an addiction. Is what I thought. I'm moving to a whole new subject now. And that was what I was dealing with. I said, well, just like a crack addict has an addiction and he fights that, maybe this is what I'm dealing with in church, this challenge of being homosexual or gay.
Mm-hmm.
Because they preaching to us it's an abomination. So maybe I'm no different than the crackhead or the alcoholic or the, you know. So that's what I began to wrestle with. But they didn't have a, well, they did have a, they did have a, you know, like they have an AA
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, the narcotic, NA.
Yeah.
Any of them, but they didn't have a gay for gay addiction, but you might be, you know. So it wasn't that open. It wasn't that spoke about when I was growing up. It wasn't mentioned on. And I remember being told as a child, if you ever turn out gay, I'll kill you.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a sin for me. And then it was a death wish as well.
Wow.
So that wasn't the thing to be for me. But as time grew on, I remember having a conversation. And they said, isn't it so much weight to carry not being who you really are? Why won't you just say it and enjoy yourself? Say what? Say what are you talking about? I still wouldn't say the word gay.
It was too much trauma associated with it. Trauma and drama associated with it if you decided to say that. So I wouldn't have said anything either.
Especially in the Black church. We know that the Black church is just not conducive to healing or any such other thing. But, you know, and I wanted to come back to you on that. I grew up Apostolic Church, one of the most strictest churches that you could ever attend in your life. So you can imagine how that was drilled into us. And, you know, so out of ignorance, you know, I just didn't know. And that's what I used to think until I started, you know, the Bible says, study to show thine own self-approved, saints, okay? So I had to learn myself, you know, and when I got in college and I started learning all this stuff, I'm saying, they lied. They flat out lying to people, you know, pushing people away from God. And so then people think, oh, well, I can't, you know, I don't like God. And it's not that they don't like God. They don't like the folks who represent God. Because of the way. Yes.
The idea that you have pushed into my head about who he is. Yeah. And I understand. And I moved away from church. And when I moved to Miami, church was a little bit different for me because now in Miami, I'm starting a different set. I'm no longer the minister of music's son. I'm no longer the choir director. I'm no longer doing different things in ministries in the church. So I don't have to have this facade or this image that I've gotten it all together as a straight man. Dating women in the church to put up a front for the church people.
Wow. And they need to stop because all of them in there screwing each other, drinking, smoking, hoes, pimps. You know, if they don't get somewhere and sit down, every last one of them institutions. It's just like, I can't even believe it. You know, they come into church for a couple of hours on Sunday, and then as soon as you walk out the door, you hoeing. Stop it. Stop it.
But somehow my sin is greater than theirs.
Yeah. So leave it up to them. That's what they think.
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, look, I don't think that nobody's going to hell, but for those who do believe that, you won't meet him there, you will beat him there, because you keep forgetting about the thou shalt not judge piece, which is one of the first things that you probably should have learned was those 10 commandments and thou shalt not judge. So even when you speaketh that about him, an abomination and what's wrong and what's right, even if you had sex out of wedlock, your sin is still equal to him being gay. And just the fact of you mentioning that he is gay and that he's going to hell and all of this other stuff, it's the same. You full of shit too. Like, you shouldn't even be talking about this stuff. If anything, that's when intercessory prayer should kick in. And if you feel like you can pray for somebody, then pray. But that's it. How dare you even speak out of your mouth any of the things that you ever said to him? Because you out of order, and you should be so happy that you didn't get cursed out. It must have been your grandma that just stopped you from lighting their ass up.
I had a praying grandmama. You know that song that they sang?
Oh, yes.
Because, I got one side that's like, woo, they ain't never been to church. And the other side is like the whole spiritual. So I thank God that I got both in me.
Yes.
You right. Need to.
Yes. If that paternal side would have came out, they would have, the church would have been left on its foundation.
Okay. All it takes is a phone call to say something happened to me before they all rise up like an army.
The church will be sitting on the foundation, just a bunch of rubble. And,
I got a big family on both sides.
Yes,
and they are
do.
both about it.
Yes, you do.
So I'm so thankful for that as well. My family that have been supportive behind me even before discovering who I am. But back to your one of your questions, which was, when did I decide? You said, like I told you, at 30 years old. I think my 30th birthday party. Yeah, and here in Miami. I invited my Auntie Debbie, Uncle Mike, and a few other people, my family, and I invited my gay friends too. So I merged both worlds together in one room. And it was very awkward for my family for a little bit. They were like, what's going on here? Why is there so many men here? And like, why every time a man comes in, they greet each other like kissing each other on the cheek? Where are we? This is not a different country, is it? Yeah. No, it's just a different world for you who have never traveled outside of their box. Yeah, but that was the best party. I think people, all of my friends and family said they have ever experienced. They said it wasn't even no party. That was the experience, baby.
All right, then. And that's a wonderful way to do it, because everyone came to have a good time, and that moment should have been centered around you regardless, right? And so that was very mature of everyone there to just maintain their focus on what that was about, and that was about your 30th birthday party and celebrating you, all of you, not bits and pieces, all of you. This is me, baby. And I know you were clean. You was sharp, wasn't you?
Ooh, baby, I was ready. I don't know if they were. Hey, baby, I was so ready. You hear me? But also, what I think is, I accomplished two things with that. I accomplished both merging two worlds and making some people who wasn't used to that world, like the straight world, who's not used to being in that world, I made them comfortable enough to be like, oh, wow. The first experience was the greatest experience I ever had with gay people. So it opened up small minds to bigger ideas.
Well, I don't know why people think that being gay makes you different or odd, or whatever. Like, we're just human beings.
Well, you are different. They put you as a minority, like being black in a white man's world.
True, but I'm saying we're at a party. What do you think everyone's going to do? Like, if it's gay females, they're going to come and try to hit on you. I mean, are you, as a straight or a heterosexual male or female, are you attracted to every single person that you see? You're not. You know, so there still has to be an attraction. What do you think? Just because he's a gay male, he gonna just try to pick up on everybody?
Hello?
Oh, that's so
No,
nasty. Like,
baby.
nah. And I'm
No,
sure
what?
you got a type like everybody else, and there has to be an
Absolutely.
attraction like everybody else. And you're
And it
not,
has a whole lot of green involved.
I'm sure, yeah, I've been seeing you in the back of them Bentleys and Rolls Royces. Oh, I follow
Don't
the
tell
story
nobody.
now.
Don't tell
So
nobody.
if you
No.
haven't followed King in Miami, you need to follow King in Miami.
Oh
Miami is
my God.
lit, and so is King.
Oh my God. It's such a great time here in Miami. Oh my God. I wish you, so when are you coming down? Let's talk about that.
We're going to come. I'll be there. If that's an invitation, I will accept.
Baby, all you have to do is get here. I'll take care of the rest. So we'll shoot your podcast from here, and I'll really give you the tea.
Okay, well, that's a date. So you have been listening to the Real Black Coffee, no sugar, no cream, and we are talking about being black, gay, and proud with King in Miami. We're going to go for a quick musical break, and we'll be right back at you.
From the moment I met you, something whispered in my ear that you were the one. And I had won by merely becoming a contender for a prize that the world would surely envy. You were more than just beautiful and friendly. Cause see, I instantly wanted you to see the end with me. We were made for an eternity. You reminded me of my mortality, cause at that very second I thought that I would die if you weren't the one God had chosen to love me.
A gift from telling my heart desires. A love of man so fierce with fire. My real revenge supply my needs. Yet I was lost, but you found me. Perfect is the heart for peace. All my love I guarantee. You and I make unity. Perfect peace is what you bring to me.
Now hold up, I don't give my heart away with ease, but when you walk by I feel a breeze that makes me want to take a chance and open my mind to our romance. Now I know you're not out here playing games. I thought you were tripping when you wrote Imani than your last name. And I admit that, babe, I feel the same. Come through, boo, let's do this thing, yeah.
Downfalls make it worth it, put our pride aside. Against the odds, we survive, leave a pass behind. Saw you walking with some friends, took a bold approach. Introduction and kiss your hand, I be doing the most. Confidence, still not aggressive. First sight of your smile, in the presence of a blessing. No love in the white, so exchange of my numbers. FaceTiming for hours, a few laughs, and now I wonder. One look in your eyes, might divide or bring us closer to trust, closer to love, entangled, think you married my crush. No pressure until you press it, now I'm seeing you blush. No rush, no extra flexing, I'm just feeling you such. All these fights from my exes brought our pleasure from pain. Haven't loved in a while, so I'm ready for change. A heart made whole in this world so cold. Black love, everlasting, be our story that's told.
This story one day will be told about the love that took my soul and taken full control. I believe my life is gonna change.
All right, you were listening to Ready for Change by my wonderful cousin Millard Thomas Jr. of Run of the Mill Music Group. And I thought that selection was great because ready for change is what we all need to be ready for. And we're talking to Kyeng about his change. So take us back to that journey again where you began to have these feelings and thoughts about being gay, and then you started moving towards. So we talked a little bit about the church and what that was like. So take us from that point
Yeah.
beyond.
Yeah. After the church, and I think I moved to Miami. So I was telling you, I got here and I wasn't so involved as choir director, the minister of music, sung, and so forth. So I became less involved in the church, and it offered me the opportunity to get a closer relationship with God, to know who He is. That He's not in the church. He's not who they told me who He was. I realized I had to unlearn a lot of things that I learned growing up. When I moved to Miami, it became a different world for me. The community here was, the gay community, as I speak of, was plenty. They were welcoming. And they thought I was hot.
You are.
Well, thank you for that.
Fine as hell.
Okay. Don't boost my ego. I love you for it. But no, that helped me to realize it's okay to be who I am. But back at home, I think when I visit home, I still turn into, my cousin mentioned to me, she said, it's funny, when we're together alone, you are king, but when my husband walks into the room, you turn into like, what up, though?
Yeah. A chameleon. You've learned to be a chameleon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice that. But she did. She's like, you go to, bitch. So, what up, though? Hey, like, just, she told, who are you? But it became natural. It became natural.
That's your protective factor, right? That's what you always had to do.
You nailed it. That was what I had to do to maintain my image and my lifestyle or life. What is it? Your choice. But anyhow, I moving past that, in the struggle of Christianity and being preached that it's not supposed to be this way. I remember praying to God one night, saying, God, this is a thorn that I have in my side. If you don't give me strength to endure it, I can't make it. So either you remove it, this whole gay thing, or you better give me the strength to endure it. Because after those two are my only options. Or I was willing to take my own life. To come and meet them, to come and see if everything that they taught me and preached to me about was really true. I was willing to take that risk to see if God would really be like, okay, since you couldn't handle the fact that I've created you in the image of me, that I gave you the heart of love no matter who it is. Just love thy neighbor. Treat thy neighbor as you would want to be treated. You've been a good guy up until that point, and you felt like I would love you less because of who you chose to fall in love with. That was a whole dream I had with God, meeting God in the middle of committing suicide.
Wow. Thank you for being so transparent and real. I just love you. And that's real, what you're saying. There are times where we have those type of revelations or epiphanies, right? And they change our lives.
Yeah.
They change our lives. Trisha, are you still with us? I don't know. Something must have happened with her. So we'll just continue on, because I know that God is real. I know that He is love. He loves us. I know that His grace is sufficient and it has covered me. I know that I am no different than you are. I know that He's given you the courage and strength that you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because He removed that thorn, didn't He? Won't He do it?
Well,
Did it feel like surgery? Like,
You know what? I can't remember the process. Baby, I've been gay so long. I mean, like, nobody even asks me anymore. They just be like, oh, we already know what time it is. You see? Hey.
hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I always remind people, before I'm anything, I'm a man before I'm anything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been so many communities that have experienced worse judgment and worse, been killed. The
Yes.
community, the LGBT community has experienced so much becoming equal rights and fighting for who God created them to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They call the ballroom scene an underground community. But has since come out since the show Legendary. Yes, by one of my good friends who lives in LA, La Roche. Yes, she's actually one of the hosts on the shows. Grand diva, fashionista. Hey. But anyhow, that has brought out a lot of people to appreciate what was once an underground community is now a hit show on a TV network.
That's wonderful. While we're on the subject of trans, I remember, and it probably still goes on, but white mainstream media is probably focused on something else right now. But I'm sure it still goes on, where there were so many acts of hatred where people who were trans were just being shot. You know, somebody going down the street and just shoot them and harass them.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's because of the ignorance of community. It's because of how we were raised. I too was raised as one of those that thought that anyone that was a trans, there was, I think, forgive me the lack of expression, but we call them crackheads.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did drugs really bad. They had a drug problem. Let's not call them crackheads.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be politically correct. He had a very hard struggle with drugs. You probably remember him. He was an inkster off of Lexington. Michi, I think they called him.
I might have been gone then, but
No, Michi was when I was a kid. I was a kid, so you was there.
I remember Crazy Paul.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. We going way back now.
I remember Paul too. Why does it sound so funny? Oh my God.
Oh, I know you're talking about Mitch. Maybe. I don't know.
Well,
but
maybe Michi was his like
I don't know.
street name that they called him or something.
Okay, maybe so.
But I was a kid. I was a kid. Like I remember from 6 to probably 14 years old. I remember him always walking down the street switching, and he was just like always like really, really flamboyant.
Ah.
would always like say mean things to him, call him faggot, and just be very, very, very mean to him. And it hurt my feelings. I didn't even know if I was gay then, but it hurt my feelings that even back then, people would be so mean.
Inconsiderate and just bullying.
That's exactly what it was. It was so terrible. That right there, I think shortly after he died because of a drug addiction, or whatnot. But that was my first experience seeing a person in transition from becoming from a man to becoming a woman. But this was in the 80s and early 90s. There she goes.
And that was not popular then at all. At all. Like, I won't say it's easy today, but it's a lot better because there have been a lot of first, like the first transsexual. I believe, I won't say they were the first. Okay, Rupaul. And then we had Cher's daughter.
Cher is definitely a great big supporter of the LGBT community. She loves her gays, baby, and her trans, and she loves them because they are supportive of her. They love her to death. Also, Patti LaBelle, Belle as well. Yes. Who else did you mention?
RuPaul.
RuPaul. Yes, RuPaul. Yes. A very, 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 very dear good girlfriend of mine. I was just watching the other day a 93 video of her in Milan, where she really wasn't famous, but was really, really gay. Like what people today would be like, oh my God, is he transitioning? No, he was just really gay. He was really gay. He reminds me of me, just happy and gay, happy. But to see him where he is today and how big of an influence on the community that he is amazing, and how accepted in different cultures and from the hip hop, R&B, everything. He is accepted everywhere, and he has opened up many doors for many of the people in the LGBT community.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing on a sidebar. He looked like he'd beat your ass too, so you better be accepting.
I'm gonna kill you to death, baby. What? They will. Don't get me started.
Hey, he don't look like he play at all. So it's like you better go on somewhere and sit down.
That's a misconception people get. A misconception people get often, that because of who you prefer, that you're less masculine or less testosterone than someone who is straight.
King, you crazy. Talk about you a windmill on the tail.
Baby, what? You ain't caught this windmill. You haven't caught this windmill like never before. Pop, 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 pop. Before you even knew you got hit.
Oh.
You're like, God damn, I'm dizzy.
And then some of the crooked eye gonna come out and everything else gonna come out.
And listen, my family don't have a lack of expression of choosing choice words.
Yeah, so it's gonna be what it is.
Okay, they can choose. They would choose some adjectives to describe you that you ain't never heard before, and to read you down. So
yes,
I still got that,
and rightfully so, because some people deserve it, and sometimes you have to speak that language and behave that way because that's the only thing that they understand. But I truly get it, choosing your battles, right? But sometimes you just got to make that stand. And just, this is what it is, because, you can't be so disrespectful, There are some boundaries that have to be drawn, and you definitely don't want an image out there that, you can be pushed over or whatever. So you have to take a stand.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I have great respect for anybody that can walk in their truth, regardless of if it's homosexuality, regardless if you just want to get high. We have services for people who shoot heroin and smoke crack. We make sure they get clean supplies. Maybe they ain't trying to stop getting high, and that's okay. You shouldn't have to die because you want to get high. If that's who you are and that's the truth that you want to walk in at this time, step, baby, step. Step, do you? Because there is nobody that I have met that is going to allow anyone on the outside that doesn't have any influence over them paying their bills or not married or whatever, and even still, if they are, that's going to tell you how to live your life and tell you what to do.
Yeah.
No, you can get on with that. We can just separate. I love you, but we can just separate and you go on. Because I'm going to do me. I have never seen, outside of Tyler Perry parody, somebody jump in the damn grave when somebody else was being buried. I haven't seen it in real life.
Okay,
So you better let me live how I want to live and let me die how I want to die. Not your business.
I think for me, I'm going to speak of my mother this time. Our mothers are the most important people for pretty much. We respect and love our fathers too, but there ain't nobody like mama. There's a song like about your mama. I'll always love my mama. She's my favorite girl. Yeah, that song. Yeah, she's always gonna be my favorite girl. But when I finally took my mom actually, oh my God, how my mom found out I was gay. I never told her. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to tell all the people.
You're going to have Belle getting both of us.
Okay. I don't have a podcast with you tonight. But anyhow, she found some matches from a friend of mine who went to Chicago with me. I borrowed her car one night when she was out of town and drove to Chicago. And I was hanging out at the boys' bars. And she got home and found a pair of matches that a friend of mine left in her car.
Oh, my God.
She Googled the thing on the matches, and so when I got to her house, she said, "So I found these in my car." I was like, "Oh, I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't know what the matches looked like because I don't smoke, So, okay.
And what are those like?
Yeah, and I just went on and she said, "Yeah." And then since I didn't acknowledge it anymore, she was like, and I Googled what it say on it. I was like, okay, well, what does it say? Not thinking anything of it. She had the matches, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, Boys Town, Chicago, oh.
Did you just fall out right there?
Baby, I like the faint right there. I couldn't believe it. I like the faint right there. I couldn't believe it. And she said, "So is there anything you want to tell me?" I said, "No. Is there anything you want to know?"
Aww.
And so then I was like, okay. And I'm reminded of my friends saying, mothers always know. And so I said, Mom, let's go to Starbucks. We need to have a talk. And I remember we were living in Bloomfield Hills. We went down the street to Starbucks on Mountain Road and Telegraph, I believe somewhere out there, past 13 Mile. It was far. It was a long time ago. But we went there. I had a caramel macchiato. She doesn't even drink coffee, but she ordered something that night. She was like, so I'm gonna need some kind of caffeine to give me a
Right.
But and I told her about being molested. I told her who it was. She cried. She asked if she was to blame for me becoming gay. And that was my worst fear, to think her only child, my dad's only son, wouldn't give them a legacy of children biologically. She felt responsible until I had to talk to her and say no. And afterwards, she told me it wasn't that she was disappointed in my lifestyle choice, but it was more so that she feared what the world would do to me because of my choice.
Absolutely, because she's your protector. Yeah.
And I'm her only child.
Yes.
Yeah. And it resonated with her because I was involved in a car accident some years prior to coming out that involved 2 other men. And it had me in a coma for 3 months on life support with a 2% chance to live. So that shook her. That having to go through that trauma again, that her only son is now on his deathbed and she's going to lose him. So the idea that people don't accept your lifestyle, this could happen to you again.
Thank you for that. You are listening to the Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where we keep it black, strong, and unfiltered. And we have Kyeng in Miami with us, talking about being black, gay, and proud. Thank you so much for all of the information you have shared, because see, you're going to help somebody.
That's right.
It's a lot of young men and women out there who are struggling right now and don't know what to do. I appreciate everything that you've shared with us. And I see Trisha, I heard you. Are you back, Trisha?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I had an emergency down in my door, and I was trying to skedaddle folks out of here because we was right in the vein of everything. I just want to say to you that, oh my goodness, you have touched my heart and my life on tonight. I could just cry.
Yeah, I want to cry too.
I know, I'm just trying to hold it back.
Because it's just so real, and it's just so, it stirs up my soul, you know, and I'm following this journey. Like, I want to fight too. Like, who said that shit? You know?
You ain't say that. Girl, I'm ready to fight, girl.
Yeah.
We about to go get them.
This kind of show that we was going to get raw and deep into it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Some of the things. Oh, my God.
Yeah. You know, I think there's all been devastation. All of us have been devastated by that molestation spirit.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we all, through that, our parents felt like, well, wow, you know, they feel helpless and they feel like, is it anything I could have done? But it is what it is. You know, that was just part of the journey. I've had that experience also my senior year in high school, you know.
Oh, talk about it.
So, and I end up stabbing him though. Like, okay, you want to, like, yes, but it was like, all right, it was my mom's boyfriend. And, you know, all of the grooming and stuff that was taking place up to that moment. And I remember him and her were they were arguing, and like he started trying to fight her. And that's when I went and got the knife and got to work. I think she thought I was protecting her, but I wasn't. In that moment, I saw that as a chance for me to just get him, like, and that's
For what?
yes, and that's what I did. And I never told her until maybe 10 years ago. Like, do you remember when
Wow.
that incident happened? And I said, I wasn't slicing him for you. That was for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Wow.
And
yeah.
she was so silent on the phone. But I was like, you don't have to feel bad, but that was for me. Because you just
Wow.
don't know what, he was saying and doing. There was no penetration or whatever, but he was leading up to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That mental anguish was more than anything. And so, baby, I I knew how to cut up a chicken. I just got
So
the
funny. So funny.
cutting.
It's funny you brought that up. You brought that up because I mentioned earlier um, the person who introduced me into this lifestyle was a boyfriend of a family member. Someone very close to me in my family had a boyfriend, but it was their son who molested me.
Mm,
And so um, the reason I hated their boyfriend was because of their son.
mm-hmm,
In correlation with you, the reason, Mama, yeah, I know he wasn't good to you, but guess what else?
mm-hmm.
I'm doing this for me too.
Yeah, this is for me. And I felt so liberated and I felt so good. I was blacked out in that moment.
Yeah.
All I remember when I came out of that was standing on the porch. I had my gown on. There was blood on it. I still had the knife. I went next door to the Roots house. They live next door. Because, my mom lives right across the street from your Aunt Debbie. That's where I grew up, that house directly.
Yeah, right at the
You,
corner of
well, if
Lexington.
you pull out of Debbie's
Yeah.
driveway and go straight, you'll pull right into my mama driveway.
Oh, wow. And I
Yeah.
speak to them all the time when I go into Debbie's house.
Yep. That's where I
And
grew up
my,
at.
and my Uncle Mike's house. I always speak to people on the porch. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what's going
That would be my mama and my brother. And I went next door. And Miss Roots and Valerie and them helped me, and at that point I came to, now I understand, like in movies when you see them shooting pow, 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 and then they just standing there. Somebody
It's the
gotta
moment.
be like,
The
take you
moment.
out of that trance, like, cause you just be there, you in that adrenaline is rushing and you still in stab mode, right? And so they had to
Yeah.
take me out of that moment. So I do understand where you're coming from when you talk about that, but you and your mother have such a wonderful relationship. I see where you have her on the story sometimes, and just your bond and the love that's shared between the two of you. It's just amazing.
Yeah. She's been one of my biggest supporters. When I told her, she was sad in the beginning, but she's learned to know that God doesn't make mistakes. She's a praying mother, so
Hmm.
I can't say that for everybody, but my mother is very, very strong supporter in me being happy
Hmm.
because she said, I'd rather have a happy son being who he is than a dead son than not ever discover himself.
Yes, yes, yes. Hallelujah. That
Yes.
is amazing.
That's what you
Oh,
said earlier that really struck me was that, being able to find yourself and being able to really just live in your truth. And do you know how many people, gay, straight, or otherwise, do not have the capacity to live their truth? So I honor you because of getting to that. Whoo, baby.
oh, it was a journey. Oh, definitely. Baby, it was a journey. And so some people will see and be like, "Ooh, I want to be like you when I grow up." Oh, baby, no, you don't. A lot of people died. What 50 Cent said one of his songs or his cliches is "Get rich dying" or "Die getting rich." It's like live being who you are or
Right.
die not ever discovering who
Yeah.
you are.
Hey, well, I certainly appreciate you embracing who you are and sharing this journey. So, you went through that, you got through the accident, You got through your depression, and you just have been in Miami living it up, doing your thing. I watched the story and I just enjoy watching it. And you're just so happy and transparent, like this is me, but you're so free. You can just feel it when watching. Like there's no putting on no airs or whatever. This is me. This is what you get.
He's an open book now. He is gay as he want to be. Nobody even have to ask him anymore. They don't even ask. They just be like, oh, yeah, that's my nigga right there. That's my nigga right there. And friends be like, who, him? Yeah, then they start talking to me like, oh, yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah, there's no questions anymore. I'm comfortable who I am. I lived this life for 40 plus years, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't lived this life, but I've been on this earth for 40 plus years. Recently discovered over a decade living in my truth of who I am. And now I can inspire and talk to other young people that have been through the same denying process, whether it's a church denying, spiritual. I can counsel from the level I've been on.
Mm-hmm. So what do you have to say to them? What is the best thing for someone who is coming out to say to their family and their loved ones?
It's not easy. It's not easy because you have to accept it within yourself. Even if somebody else is trying to coach you to come out, you have to accept it for yourself. If you're not certain within yourself, or you haven't, or some spiritual force is making you wrestle with it, when you be comfortable with who you are, have someone, even trying to discover who you are, have someone that you can talk to. I used to talk to my sister about a girl named Amanda all the time until we went to IHOP and Amanda broke up with me like for good. And I told my sister, her name really wasn't Amanda, it's Amon. My sister's like, oh,
What?
oh God, I thought it was a guy because I never met her. So yeah, that was in college. That was my first love.
Oh.
We still talk today. He's all right. He's a cool guy.
And you and your sister have a wonderful relationship. So it seems, that you and her are very close, and she embraces you for who you are, and her children. It seems like you're just in this harmonious, you have this harmonious sibling relationship. And I think that's really, really cool.
That's my other twin. Yeah, that's my other twin.
Yeah, you do look like twins too. So you look just alike. You can tell that you're brother and sister, but I think that's wonderful. What do you wish the public knew about gay people that you think would make it be more accepting? What could you say to them?
Wow. That's a difficult question because I can't speak for the masses. Can we put pause on it real quick?
Yes. Yes, we can. Because what I was thinking in my mind was that we're people
Hang
too.
on. Can you give me a second, one moment?
Okay, I will.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Just here, just so transparent and inspiring, you know what I mean? Like just across the board, just his strength, you know what I mean? Like, man, this is just, thank you for having me on with you all.
Yeah, I just love the honesty, the transparency. And there was no hesitation when I asked him, like, I want to tell this story. Would you be willing to come on the show and share? And there was no hesitation. Like, yeah, what do you want to talk about? And I told him, and he was very accepting of it. And I honor and respect him for that.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not an easy conversation to have, but it's a very worthy conversation to have. To be able to talk about everything from the depths of your soul and your childhood and what you've gone through, because you say all the time, healing is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm experiencing that tonight. I've never had a live, open forum conversation that's going to be documented for the rest of my life, about how I really feel. And I want to make sure that I'm not being so selfish to just talk about my experience in that. In telling my experience, I want others to know that they're not alone, because I felt that way. I felt that way. And so in that process, I don't ever want anyone to feel like they're alone. There's always suicidal hotlines you can talk to. There's always me. You can find me on any social media platform that you want, King in Miami, KINGNIN Miami. And I've been there. And so even with the trans community, I have great friends that are transitioning and who have transitioned. T.S. Madison, for one. She has her show now. She's now
Yeah.
okay.
I watch, yeah.
She's been promoted on We TV, which is a big accomplishment for the LGBT community. So slowly and surely, it reminds me, this is a personal opinion, of how Black people fought for their freedom. They fought to become equal, how they fought for their rights. Now the LGBT community is doing the same, following right after the African American and Black community once did, to gain the freedom that we now have, which is still limited, by the way.
you just answered that question. So, the public and anybody who has phobias or anything else, just know that, especially if you're Black, know that that fight for freedom and acceptance and to be equal and to feel whole is the same thing. So every time you are prejudiced or judgmental or stigmatize someone from the LGBTQ community, think about you being Black and born in your Black skin and still not having the freedom and the civil liberties and everything that you feel like you deserve. So the next time you want to talk about someone being gay, think about you being Black.
Oops.
And how does that feel?
Stop it.
And
Don't
still
put that
having to fight.
body.
This black coffee, baby.
Don't put that pressure on nobody.
Hey, well, they need it.
Yeah, they definitely did. I was watching, what was it, Love and Hip Hop, some
Yes.
edition that they have, and Jonathan and Zell were into it. They're both in the gay community, and Zell and Jonathan said that to Zell, like, okay, so you're saying that I can pick and choose about, how flamboyant I am, but can you pick and choose? Can you take your Black skin off? And they got so upset about that. But I'm like, injustice is injustice.
It is. It is. You can't pick and choose who you want to be. It's just like pick and choosing whose sin is worse than the other.
Some people try, but they need to stop.
Yeah.
They need to stop, because sin is sin is sin. There's no big sin and no little sin. That's like a lie. A lie is a lie.
How about
Ain't
Right. That's what I'm saying to you. How about we focus on everybody being happy? Right now, it's wars going on, and
Thank
people are
you.
dying, and children are dying, and don't even know why they're dying.
Yeah, that part right there. And
So, at this point, I think in life, as life progresses, it humbles everyone's heart,
yeah,
and it teaches everyone to be a little bit more compassionate and respectful and open-minded. That we're not in Russia. We don't know what's on them people's mind, what's being fed to them via their social media or news network, which validates why they're trying to overtake Ukraine. It's just having an open mind to say, whether you're hurting someone or not, that is terrible, regardless to who they are. If you're hurting someone, it's terrible.
It is.
yeah,
It is.
Period.
And especially if, think of if it was your child or someone that you love, would you want them to be treated that way? Not at all. So
Wow.
we're going
And
to,
that's called empathy.
yeah, absolutely. Because we live in a society though where a lot of people hide a lot of things. So
yeah,
another thing you could take from the gay community is they not hiding nothing. So they not stressed out about hiding anything anymore. They're living their life like it's golden and they're free.
that's right.
So that message was for all the preachers who drinking, battling depression.
I don't have some preachers too.
That's what I was going to say for all the preachers that act like they want to down the gay community, but they're right there with the gay community on the low. Okay, so
Didn't y'all just have a special, or wasn't it promoted about rest his soul, Bishop Ellis, Greta Grace, sending pictures to them boys and buying them boys cars, and then the boys came back and sued the church? Honey, don't act like that wasn't too long ago that was on the news. Bishop Ellis. That might be one of y'all churches.
I know everybody know the church though, but nope.
Yeah. He ended that up in Atlanta. Yeah.
Or Bishop
That
Eddie
was-
Long.
Eddie Long.
Eddie Long, Bishop Eddie Long.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
What I
just
say?
I mean,
You said Bishop Ellis. They gonna come beat you with a tambourine. Now,
Thank you
he
for
meant
correcting
Eddie Long, not Bishop Ellis.
So
Sorry,
don't come for King. Don't come for King.
Ellis. Listen, I'm so sorry. All these mega churches, honey. Is he a pastor of a mega church?
Yes, right on 7
Okay, well,
Mile.
I get him confused sometime.
Yeah, but Eddie Long.
Ellis.
Yeah, so the
But
Holy Rollers,
yeah.
we retract that statement. He was talking about Bishop Eddie Long. Don't get in my Eddie Long. Don't get in my inbox and get your feelings hurt. It was
Thank you.
a mistake.
Eddie
Please.
Long ain't gonna get in nobody's
Well, Eddie
box
Long
because
already
he
gone.
ain't no longer here.
Yeah.
But that's what
He
I
called
mean.
Ellis.
He led a revolt against the LGBTQIA plus community. I mean, just dogging and just being dogmatic and just horrible. And when I found that out, I just said to myself, how could you? How could you? You know, when I seen those young men and they were sharing their stories, it just broke my heart because they trusted him. They trusted him as a leader. And then he turn around and say all those evil and vile things. They need to stop. Okay, because we'll be on part 2 of the Black
Okay.
Church.
Well, we're going to take a brief break. So you've been listening to the Real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream. And this show is called Being Black, Gay, and Proud. And we have Kyeng in Miami. So we're going to take a short break and listen to a poem that was written for our agency called Be, because we want everybody to be who they are. We'll be right back.
If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Dr. Martin Luther King. On those days when you find it hard to keep moving, remember to keep moving. Remember to be king, be family, be freedom marches, be inspiration. Be your mother's pain turn poems. Be your mother's poems turn pain, be home, be hope. There is home for you and hope. Be peacekeeper, be change. Be wise with what you change. Be storm clouds gathering, adding color to sky. Be sky, beautiful with dreams. Be dreams that live in the faces of daughters and sons. Be daughters and sons that dream and dream, keep dreaming. Be kinder than most. And pray, always pray. Be prayer, be struggle, but keep moving forward. Always keep moving forward. Be God-centered. Be fueled by love. Be justice-seeking and open-minded, but be accountable. Be nonviolent, but be revolutionary. Be prophet and oracle of truth. And even when your gifts go unappreciated, you are appreciated. Be water protectors, soar, and keep moving forward. Be caterpillar, turn butterfly. Be phoenix born from ashes and flames. Be magic and mystery. Be atmosphere and particles, moving through space and time. Be timeless and steady like shadows at noon. Be sun-kissed, shade, but don't throw shade. Be student, be teacher, be answer to the right question, but be sure to answer the questions right. Be patient, be patient and soar, but by all means.
I'm glad you said it.
That poem was written and spoken by Native Child Brown, and it's called Be. And we're so grateful to have King in Miami on this show. Being real, being who he is, being who God created him to be, and being for real. Being black, being gay, and being proud. I salute you, brother. This has been a wonderful, wonderful, heart-wrenching, soul-stirring conversation.
Inspiring.
Yes.
Can't believe you brought me on and brought all of this information out, and I hope that that it hasn't been in vain. I pray that it reaches the masses of people who struggle with identity of who they are. Yeah, and for you having this platform to share this moment about something that's not publicly shared a lot, swept under the rug. So thank you again for allowing me to come and share my experiences and with reaching out to someone else who may experience some issues with becoming who they are.
It is an honor and a privilege to be even trusted. I didn't know what you were going to say when I was in my spirit was touched to reach out to you. And there was no hesitation. So I appreciate that, trusting me to be able to share your story, especially when you said it was the first time you talked about it publicly. I don't take that lightly at all. Thank you. I just love you so much. I can't wait to get to Miami, or when you come back home for a special occasion or whatever, we can link up, dinner and drinks on me. I appreciate you. And
you were cocktails.
Oh, yes. Yes. Dinner and drinks on me. Trisha and I will meet you, and we will
That would be
just
so
love
awesome.
on you and give you a big hug and just thank you, King. Thank you
Yeah.
so much from the bottom of my heart. You truly have inspired me. Your testimony has helped me. So I know that it will be able to help someone else. Trisha, do you have any parting words?
Just thank you. You are so fabulous and amazing and fierce and loving and kind and just a force to be reckoned with. I am so honored to have shared this space with you and accept my friend request.
Honey, I haven't seen a friend request from you. It's probably it's
No,
a
I
thousand.
just sent it. I just sent it.
Okay, okay. Well, how you just now saying that? You done know me for. Okay, we'll say that's off the air.
You know what? Just thank you. Are there any parting words? Anything else you would like to share, King, before we get
I
out
like
of
to
there?
tell people, be who you are. We are in 2022. If you made it through COVID, if you made it through what a lot of people didn't make it through, if you didn't realize what if this quarantine, this separation from you and the world, if your energy didn't change and gravitate to the forces of this world, then honey, something's wrong. You need to go talk to a psych. Everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs a therapist. I'm an advocate for it. Everybody needs somebody to talk to. However, but during this time, you need to live and be who you are. Because listen, we all live, and guess what? We all
We all
die.
gonna die. You better believe that. Thank you, thank you. You have been listening to the real Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, where I don't try to spill the tea or make you feel dazed like you drank a shot of cheap liquor. I just want you to see things from another perspective. And tonight that was mine and King's. So we are out of here. Thank you. And we will see you next week. We will be talking about the wrongful conviction of Donald Dewey's son. Take
Oh,
care and be blessed.